Africa was a very happy continent, just like this picture on my t-shirt, until colonization happened, and then Africa became very, very sour, and they destroyed everything. But now we are uncovering our history. Little by little, we might make back the actual Africa. Hello guys!
Hi!
Welcome to our channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Africa. But before that, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and also thumbs up. I'm watching you. Have you subscribed yet? Please subscribe if you haven't. So today we are going to be talking about Africa. This subject is a really important subject to me because Africa is my home continent. So when we are talking about Africa, we are talking about diverse countries just into one continent. There are 61 countries in total, but the UN only says that 54 are actual countries. The rest are not.
And here is how it looks like when they have their flags.
So this is to show how diverse each country is. So Africa is the second most largest continent in the world, and it has the most languages and also the most countries in the world. So that means it's small. It's smaller than Asia, but it has more countries than Asia. So we'll be talking about almost all of these countries because we can't add all of them here. There are just too many to explain.
And most of the islands are owned by other European or American countries. Like, let's take Reunion and Mayotte, for example. They are still African, and they are near the African country of Madagascar, but they are owned by France. And the Northern Mariana Islands, also African, but owned by the UK and the US. And there is also the Canary Islands that are owned by Spain. What is happening here?
This is all wrong, and this should not happen. So, mostly on the internet, Africa has been appearing a lot. So this is a subject that we must know. Some people think that Africa is a country, but we want to do that, but we are not yet a country. We are a continent, and we do not speak the same language. Mind you, you can't go to one place in Africa and speak the same language like another. That can only happen in some cases, but it's really rare of that happening. Each diverse country has a diverse language, so you can't speak the same language in different countries in Africa. You can't go to the north and don't go to the south and you have to speak the same language. No.
That's a complete no-no.
So that's to show how diverse Africa is. So let's go back in time and we see human beings. Human beings were originally from Africa, and then they traveled to Asia and Europe and later on to the Americas. So that means that we originated from Africa. So even though you are born in Europe or Asia, you only have a tiny little African in your family. So you go and check. Human beings came from Africa.
So when we go farther in time, then you'll see that these Western countries started making their own places in Africa. Like the Congo's own were Belgium, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and South Africa were all owned by Britain. These Western countries started taking over Africa.
But now they have stopped. So that's colonization. But before that there was many great empires which will be relating and sticking the pictures together to make the actual Africa that you should know.
Like there's the Mali Empire that takes over about two different countries, modern-day Mali and modern-day Mauritania.
And also so many other countries and more. It took Senegal, many countries, let's just say that. And the
richest
man came from that place. Till date, he's richer than Bill Gates. He's richer than any person that have ever lived.
Even when he's dead by this point.
He is Mansa Musa. He was the king of the great Mali Empire. And he wasn't the only king of the great Mali Empire, but he's the most known. Many stories of the Western world feature him, and many people try to find his buildings that he made. He also made Timbuktu. You go and Google it. It's a country. It's a place in Mali that it has rich history. The reason why is because it was made by Mansa Musa. There is loaded with gold, and it was at its day. It was the international place for you to go and learn,
like the Oxford of Africa at the time.
So every person from any place came there just to learn something. So that shows how that place was really important to Mali. So the Mali Empire was a big empire that had Mansa Musa, the richest man till date, and also has a mysterious town called Timbuktu. And Timbuktu, many people have went to Timbuktu in the olden times. Many people have heard of Timbuktu, and many people say it's a legend, because not that much people say that they want to go to Timbuktu, because it's just in a land that is just a big desert. So you just have to walk through a desert. So that's why nobody actually have seen it. But there's many records of Timbuktu. Mostly in the books and the libraries it has. It has the most books and libraries in the whole of Africa, after the books and libraries of Alexander. So that means that that place was really important. And even that time, when nobody have already learned how to make books, they were making millions and millions of those books, and they buried them. So that makes them more and more important to find. So if you find the Timbuktu book, you are really lucky that you found one, because these books are really important, because they are tracing Mali's times to the Mali Empire.
There's also kingdoms in Africa, and one of the most famous of them is the Kingdom of Aksum. The Kingdom of Aksum stretched from Ethiopia's north to Saba, present-day Yemen.
So that means the Kingdom of Aksum went from Ethiopia to Eritrea and then conquered the whole of Yemen. That's amazing, and that shows how strong the Kingdom of Aksum was.
And instead of these Yemenis that we know them as today, no, they weren't called Yemenis at the time. They were called Sabaeans due to Saba.
So the Sabaeans mixed with the people of Aksum, which are called Aksumites. So they mixed with the Aksumites, and then they made the Axumites more complex, and they shared ideas and helped them to grow crops. So it was just exchanging of knowledge. So now let's go to the next kingdom. So the next kingdom is Venok Kingdom, and it was situated near Benin and also part of Nigeria. So in that place, there's little known about it because when the British came to that place, they destroyed everything, except some artifacts that remain of the great civilization. And they were really, really good at making iron into sculptures. So that's what is remained of them. So now let's go to the next.
So the next is the Great Kingdom of Zimbabwe.
So the Great Kingdom of Zimbabwe, before when the German and all these Western people came to see what it was. So when they saw it, they thought it was a lost
European or American tribe
that had made the war. But it turned out to be Africans. What a very pleasant surprise. So, what they found there was a spear and also a golden rhino, which you can now find in their only own, not Africans, museum. And that's the wrong thing about it. We made it, we hide it, they dig it out, they keep it. And that's what we don't like. They are stealing our history. And that's the reason why we should not allow this to happen again. And that's why we have to dig into the ground and find back African history.
And there's also the Kingdom of Kush in Sudan.
And it went from Sudan to many places around Africa. So that place was just like Kingdom of Aksum, but in Sudan. So now let's go to the Great Benin Empire. The Great Benin Empire was an empire which built the Great Wall of Benin. You might have heard it, you might have not. If you haven't, you must know. So the Great Benin Empire is just like the Great Wall of China inside Africa. So it's just loaded with Benin history. So if you don't know where Benin is, it is in Nigeria, and it's among the oldest kingdoms in the world. Wow.
And it still exists today.
That's the fun part about Benin in Nigeria. So let's go to the next empire or kingdom. So the next kingdom is the Great Ghana Kingdom. It came before the Great Mali Empire. So let's talk a little about this place. So how it shattered is mostly because it wasn't stable. And the reason why it flourished is because it had lots and lots of gold there. So, and that's another reason why Mansa Musa is very rich, because of his rich heritage.
And when these British came here, they did not name it Ghana. No, the Ghanaians did that. They named it Gold Coast. You know Ivory Coast? The French named it Côte d'Ivoire. That means Ivory Coast. From French to English. It's like they're just having a party in Africa, naming any country they want.
So what these country, Gold Coast and all the Ivory Coast and all these names that they are giving African countries that already have names. All these names that they are giving for no reason is just to tell. It's just like they're telling the other ones, like Ghana, you call this one Gold Coast because you collect gold from here, and you call this one Ivory Coast because there's the ivory here. Just to let other people know that this is gold and this is ivory.
And the future people of their kind will then know which one they should steal from when they need valuable things. Okay, they named this one Gold Ghost and this one Ivory. So I want gold. So it's the best idea I have is to go to Gold Coast due to that they named it Gold Coast and they steal that much gold.
And that is another reason that even though African places have very good names with good meanings, they come, they name them, the name sometimes sticks and the name sometimes just fades away. And that's the problem. When they come there, they destroy everything, they rename the country, they act as if they made it, they act as if it didn't exist before, and then they discovered it, and then it's taking everything back to history.
Talking about discoveries, did you know that Africa discovered America? Yes, that Christopher Columbus is nothing about discovering. He wasn't the first, but he did discover it. He was the last ever person to discover the Americas.
Before he came, he said that there were many people who talked about there was these black-skinned people who went there and exchanged this type of alum, gold, and iron spearheads, which they gave to Columbus. Columbus took them. So now, if we check this with the spears in Africa, they are similar with the ones that they use in North Africa and West Africa. So that means the Africans might have came before Columbus. And another reason why we say this is because of there's lots of statues in Mesoamerica. And these statues in Mesoamerica, they don't only were made by them, but they look like Africans. So this is a clear indication that Columbus wasn't the first one to come to America. So just check out this on the map. It's very easy to go from North Africa to the Americas than to go from Europe to the Americas. So that's clear evidence. So next we're going to talk more about Africa and less about its history and more about what the people are like. So first we have to start with another chapter of history of Africa. We go to the north of Africa, mostly Morocco we will be focusing on. So Morocco is in North Africa if you don't know, and Morocco has a Berber population. If you don't know what Berbers are just an ancient group of people who used to live in North Africa. And most people of Morocco are in a Berber descent. And if you don't know who Berbers are, they are just the Berbers of the north. So they are from the north. Pretty easy to understand them. And they also act like people from the Middle East because they wear some type of hairdressing that covers their mouth and their head, just like Arabians have. But there's one thing they have in common. There's one thing that is distinct with them, is that the Arabians, they usually wear white scarves, but these ones were blue. It's for a reason, because it's more clearer to spot in the sand of the Sahara. And another thing, it absorbs some sunlight and also reflects some sunlight, just to help because they live in deserts. So there's many stories of Berbers and the people from the Middle East just joining to travel and go to Timbuktu. So this is all just connecting of all of these tribes just joining together to call themselves Berbers. So now let's go next to the next place, which is up here. It is called Algeria. So we will be mostly focusing on Algeria, just to talk some of the history, because Algeria is the most preserved country with lots of the history still there, and most of them not trampled on by the British. So this is a nice place to check on. So let's first start. So Algeria has many history with the Romans, plus because it was almost part of the Roman Empire. And there was many good people who stand against the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire was building and making lots of statues inside there, and it was all just wrong. So, and there's many legends that the Roman Empire and Algeria were just friends, or they were working together, or Algeria even allowed them to do it. But all of those legends are untrue. So now, Algeria's history is very complicated, just like Africa's history. Then now, Algeria has some little cracks inside. So now, Algeria is in the rule of a Roman man, and this is all wrong. So he's overthrown by his brother. This is all wrong. He's overthrown by his brother, and it goes for at least six years. And then suddenly Algeria stops this, and the Roman Empire has finished. Now Algeria is just recovering its history back. Now let's go to Eritrea. Eritrea is just a country that is doing catch-up to understand its history. So this is a good place to check out. So in Eritrea, there's many places in Eritrea that are just ruins of great civilizations. So let's check it out. There's many places to go to in Eritrea, and some of them are just the best places you could ever see, and they are preserved. And one notable spot is Kindev,
The ruins of Aksum Empire, shared with Ethiopia. Talking of Ethiopia, now let's go to the nearer neighbor, Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is home to the Church of Lalibela, and Lalibela is about 900 years old. Can you imagine that?
And it's hewn out of stone. That means it was made out of stone, just stone out of the ground. And it's underground, and it's still working in service today as a church. And that's the most amazing thing about this place. You can still visit it, you can still worship in it, Everything is well functioning. Every church, old or new church in Ethiopia is still working as long as they're not broken. So now Ethiopia has this king called Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie was the only king that Queen Elizabeth II bowed to, and also he was a descendant of Menelik I. Menelik I is the son of Queen of Sheba. Queen of Sheba was married to Solomon. Read the Bible and read history. All of that is all connected.
And also, Haile Selassie also had no guards but lions as his guards, and those guards were the lion of the tribe of Judah.
You might have heard it in prayers. So this all shows that he was connected to Solomon. So now, with all of that amazing history, let's go to the next place which has lots and lots of history. Let's go to Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe means Zimbabwe, not the country named Zimbabwe, the place called Great Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe got its name from Great Zimbabwe. So Great Zimbabwe, or Great House of Stone, that's what Zimbabwe means, House of Stone, is actually a house of stone. The name is not unfortunate. The name is actually real. And the remainings of the ruins of Great Zimbabwe is now a UNESCO heritage site. And that's how Zimbabwe got its name. And also the picture on its flag. That beautiful bird sitting on something that is written in some type of language it's a sculpture that you can find in Great Zimbabwe. So the pride of Zimbabwe is Great Zimbabwe. So this is all amazing, and how Zimbabwe kept this heritage site. So now let's go to South Africa. So South Africa has many empires and have been part of many kingdoms, like the Zulus. If you have heard of the Zulus, they are not radical men that kill everybody, no. The Zulus aren't those type of people. The Zulus were just strong people who lived in South Africa before colonization. Before they became radical and started killing, as we call them today, no. They were just good at agriculture, and they were also good at spears, making spears to kill and hunt for food. So they were just a very happy community, and they growed really fast
until the Dutch and the British came.
So the Dutch came, and we know Shaka Zulu just because of the Dutch, and same as the English. So the Dutch came, Shaka Zulu killed some, and told the rest to either stay or go away. So they chose to stay. They made camps, and Shaka Zulu later died, just because of being overthrown by his two brothers who killed him. So this is how that worked. After Shaka Zulu died, those Dutch, since now Dutch is no more a country, they lived there. Until colonization happened, this time Britain, and the Shaka Zulu Empire went on its rise. And that's how we know the Shaka Zulu today.
Until the British got and they remove the whole thing from history by making it fall down. It's like it was a large brick tower that was made by the South Africans. But then Britain, that was another fellow baby, just knocked down the whole statue. Now the whole thing is gone. Nobody can find it anymore. It's all just blocks on the floor.
So this is how everything works here. You start a very beautiful place. You work hard. When colonization happens, almost everything gets destroyed. And that's the bad side. And that's the side that most people think of African colonization. So another thing is that let's go to the Congos. So let's go to Democratic Republic of Congo.
To be more precise, because there's 2 Congos in the world. But as there was 1 Sudan but broke into 2 Sudans, there was 1 Congo but they broke into 2 Congos.
So now let's go to the Republic of the Congo. The Republic of the Congo has the second largest rainforest in the world, called the Congo rainforest.
It's shared by Gabon and Cameroon nearby.
And also it's the second largest. It's smaller than the Amazon, but second in place. So next, let's go to the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is the richest country in the world.
The minerals found here cannot be found anywhere else on Earth.
The reason why you have your mobile phone is because of coltan, which is only found in one place, in Democratic Republic of Congo. So without Congo, no phone, no mobile phone. You should Google coltan so that you understand more about what we're talking about. So, Democratic Republic of Congo is the richest country in the world, not in Africa, in the world, because of its minerals. And same as the rest of Africa has lots and lots of minerals. It just has a combination of every single mineral you can find everywhere else on the world. Nigeria is the best oil producer in Africa. That's good. You have oil. Good for you, Nigeria. And it has the best oil. That's another thing for Nigeria to hold.
Great.
Now, then there's Democratic Republic of Congo, which has lots and lots and lots of minerals, which makes it the richest country in the world, not in Africa.
So the Democratic Republic of the Congo is the richest country by minerals, and it is also the second largest country in Africa by landmass, after Algeria.
So we have talked about Central Africa, we have talked about West Africa, East Africa, we have also talked about South and North. Now let's go to some islands. Okay, so let's go to Madagascar, and why you're seeing it lately on the internet.
Madagascar's president have found out that Madagascar have got the medicine for COVID.
So Madagascar is the savior of the world right now.
It's like this, little Madagascar, the world depends on you. Don't make them go down. They depend on you. Do it.
So now Madagascar is now helping the rest of Africa. So Madagascar, thank you for saving humanity. So you know the European Union and also all these unions that are in the world. Africa has their own. It's called the African Union or the AU.
Located inside here in Ethiopia, the capital Addis Ababa.
In Addis Ababa, you can see a place that is like headquarters where all the African countries gather for their meetings. So let's do a summary of Africa. So first we learned that the Berbers are the people of the north of Africa, and they wear blue masks to put on their face to protect them from the sun. And we also learned that there was a great empire called the Kingdom of Aksum. And there's many places in Eritrea and Ethiopia that you can see the ruins of Aksum. And Africa is not colonization. Africa is rich history. Africa is great people. Africa is beautiful. Africa is rich. Africa is the continent of all continents. Africa is where you came from, even though you're European or either American. You have a little African inside you. Africa is beautiful, not what is displayed on media. Africa is the place of hope. Africa is the best place to be.
So now let's do a summary or a recap. So we learned that without the DRC, we cannot have any culture that makes our mobile phone. And we also learned that DRC is the second largest country in Africa. We also learned that the most richest man till date, even when he's dead, is Mansa Musa, and he came from the Mali Empire. And we learned many kingdoms and empires inside this video. And we also learned that Berbers mostly live in Morocco and the people of the north. So the DRC, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, is the second largest African country. And without the DRC, then you can have no mobile phone due to cobalt is found in the DRC. And Nigeria is the 7th most populated country in the world, and Nigeria is the 1st most populated country in Africa.
And Nigeria also has the best oil. They say that it has the best oil in Africa.
So that is the recap of today.
So Africa was very happy before colonization happened. After colonization, they destroyed everything until it was as sour as a lemon. Now, slowly by slowly, we are making Africa back to how happy it was, uncovering our history and let everybody know that Africa is not a country, but a continent. And this continent is an amazing continent to be from, and I am proud. And little by little, we will be uncovering our history until Africa is back happy like it was. So hopefully, Africa will become the best place you could ever live in. So, this is the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it.
Stay home, stay safe, have fun, watch all of our movies so you can be very smart.
Bye guys, and have a happy day.